Are you thinking about buying a home in Fontana, California? Well, if you are, but you're not familiar with the surrounding shopping, schools, parks, entertainment options, hospitals, and so on, then this is the video for you. In just a minute here, we're gonna hop inside my computer and I'm gonna point you around to where you should be staying, where you're gonna be traveling in and out from most likely, what the daily life is like living in Fontana. Now, most of my videos, I'm actually pointing you towards specific real estate, but not today. Today, we're just learning about what it'd be like to live in Fontana so you can have a good idea of what life is like before you're making a big decision like buying or selling real estate. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here we are inside my computer on Google Maps. Here between this red dotted line is the city of Fontana, California. Now, Fontana is a continually growing city, let's say, over 200,000 people. So not too far from other very populated areas like Rancho Cucamonga, like San Bernardino, like Riverside. Fontana is definitely right in the mix of the rest of the Inland Empire, the rest of Southern California. So if you are not used to living in Southern California, hopefully this will give you a preview of where it is geographically and what's close, what's not, so you can have a good idea of what it's like to be living here in Fontana. Okay, so if we zoom out a little bit, you'll notice, okay, still have that red dotted line. So Fontana is pretty much directly due east of LA. Just hop on the 10 and go directly west to get to LA. You now have the 210 that runs through northern Fontana. Before, the 210 pretty much stops in Pasadena. So let's see, that was maybe about 20 years ago that the 210 runs from Pasadena all the way through into Fontana and then connects to the 10 all the way through San Bernardino and Highland, and then eventually Redlands before you head out to the Palm Springs area. So if you want to get to any Orange County beaches from Fontana, probably going to take you about an hour, I would say, depending on, of course, the time of day when you're traveling and the day of the week. You're not too far from just hopping on the 15 and making a quick weekend trip to perhaps Las Vegas, or if you're a mountain person, right? You're not too far from Big Bear. You're not too far from Lake Arrowhead. If you want to go further north, you also have some other mountain resorts. San Diego is pretty much directly south of Fontana. That's going to take you probably a solid hour and 45 minutes, probably close to 2 hours. So definitely right in the thick of things in terms of Southern California as a whole. If you have friends or family coming in to visit, definitely want to be using, if they're flying in, definitely want to be using Ontario International Airport. Really, really easy. Just jump on the 10 and use Ontario. Perhaps, depending on where your travelers are coming and going from, you could use LAX. It might be a little bit cheaper, but it's going to be a longer commute and just a lot more congestion. So definitely look at Ontario first, and then perhaps LAX. You also have John Wayne in Orange County, but I would definitely start with Ontario. Okay, before we go any further, please go ahead and hit that like button so this video can be put in front of more people like yourself. Now, in terms of schools, what should you expect in terms of schools for you and yours? Here is a map of the Fontana Unified School District's high schools, right? So the original, from way back in the day, the original Fontana High or Faux High is this area in brown right in the middle here. And then you see where we're situated here. Here's the 10, here's the 210, and then going north and south here, that's not quite labeled, is the 15. You also have A.B. Miller. Pretty sure A.B. Miller is the second oldest high school in Fontana. And then further north, Summit is one of the newer high schools in Fontana. And then south, you have Kaiser, as well as Rupa Hills High School. So if you're high school age students will be in Fontana Unified, here's a breakdown of those territories if you want to take a closer look and see where your student would be headed to high school. Now there are 46 total schools in Fontana Unified. So middle and elementary and continuation schools. Take out these 5 high schools and you have 41 other public schools in Fontana Unified. Okay, now what about parks? What about enjoying the outdoors living in Fontana? So like I said towards the beginning, a city of well over 200,000 people, so you won't have to travel too far to find a local, fairly close little neighborhood park. But I do want to point you in the direction of 2 of the bigger, more popular parks. The first one being in South Fontana, right off of the 10 and Sierra. Here is the Martin Tudor Rupa Hills Regional Park. This park has all kinds of, soccer fields, softball, baseball, very popular place for people to set up picnics, do all kinds of birthday parties. So depending on the weather, right? Choose a day where it's not too hot or find a nice shady spots. But the Martin Tudor Rupa Hills Park is a great option if you and yours want to spend some time outside in Fontana. Okay, and then another option I wanted to point you towards is a little bit further north, right off Foothill. And Foothill Boulevard is pretty much directly in between the 10 and the 210 further north. This is going to be, pretty much the main drag in Fontana that's not a freeway. So all kinds of shopping and, hotels and a whole bunch of goods and services right off of Foothill Boulevard. But if we zoom in here right off of Sierra, you'll find the Bill Martin Park, good spot to play some tennis. Again, baseball fields, softball fields, great place for you and yours to enjoy the outdoors here in Fontana. And then as you zoom out, right, all these different kinds of neighborhood parks popping up. And of course, right, you have 46 schools. So when school's not in session, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to utilize a lot of those playgrounds on the weekends and holidays when school is not in session. So you won't have to travel too far to find a park that is good for you and yours. Okay, now this part is for you. Here is my email address. Please go ahead and introduce yourself to me so I can know where you are on your home buying journey so we can get the ball rolling. All right, back to the video. Okay, now in terms of your grocery shopping, you have all kinds of options. Closer to the 10, right? This is like your old Fontana. All kinds of options up and down Sierra Avenue right here. And then as you get a little bit further north, right off the 210, these communities are some of the newer communities in Fontana. And you won't have to travel too far to either go to Ralph's or Sprouts or Vons or Stater Brothers is definitely one of the quintessential staples of living in the Inland Empire. I would start there if you're not familiar with. Great supermarket, really good prices, really good meats there at Stater Brothers, and find what works for you, right? You won't have to travel too far for your grocery shop. Okay, now in terms of healthcare and hospitals, the very first place I'm going to point you towards, God forbid anything bad happens to you or anyone in your family, but right off the 10 here at Sierra, you have Kaiser. Very, very big hospital. They will be able to take care of you there. All kinds of other clinics around town, as you can see here as well. depending on perhaps the severity of or the intricacy of what's going on. You also have St. Bernardine in San Bernardino. Also have Arrowhead Regional, not too far away. And if you have children, of course, you have Loma Linda Children's Hospital is not too far away either. So if you're living in Fontana, your local hospital is definitely going to be Kaiser right on Sierra, right off the 10. And then if it's anything more than that, you won't have to travel too far away living in Fontana for your healthcare. Okay, if you or any part of your family are golfers like me, let's talk about golf for a couple minutes here. In Fontana, Sierra Lakes is a fantastic public golf course. Northern Fontana, right off of the 10. Beware, whenever I seem to play there, probably play there once or twice a year, it is always very, very windy. So if you don't love playing in the wind, perhaps you go find somewhere else to play. But the prices have gone up just a little bit. I mean, pretty much with everything else in today's economy. But on the weekend, like a prime time, you're probably paying close to like $100 to play, maybe a little bit less than that. And then weekdays in the afternoon, let's say during the summer twilight, it's a lot more reasonable, probably closer to like 50 or maybe $60. So really good public golf course there at Sierra Lakes. And then if you want to go a little bit further south, this is actually not in Fontana, but just across the southern border of Fontana. You also have Oak Quarry Golf course right here. It is public. Now this is, I would think, a little bit too expensive, not quite worth how much they're asking for tee times. I think they have some new owners like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I've only played there maybe once in the last 2 or 3 years, but a pretty cool golf course, got some nice views. You may have to find like a deal online to really get your value out of it, but not too far away. And then just living in Fontana in general, I mean, if you don't mind traveling, 20 or 30 minutes, you'll be able to find golf courses not too far away so you can get out and enjoy the links. Now, in terms of finding a place to stay for the night, hotels in Fontana, there actually aren't a ton. I would point you first towards the Aries, pretty new, right on the border of Rialto and Fontana. So it looks like that's going to be about $125 a night. If you have friends coming in using Ontario, you might just consider picking out one of these hotel airports just right across the way from the airports. Depending on, where you're going to be hanging out, where you're spending most of your time, this won't be too much of a commute getting back to your hotel. You also have Airbnb options, but I would first start at the Aries Hotel here and then perhaps look at these hotels. Looks like you might get a little bit better value right across from the airport than in other parts of Fontana. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. That way you will not miss any upcoming videos, whether they're about Fontana or any other parts of the Inland Empire, so you can make informed decisions before you are buying or selling real estate. My name is Peter Kane. I work with Century 21 Lois Lauer, and the team and I would love to meet you and help you on your real estate journey.